to the 3x5 Life podcast. As you can see, my better half is not with me today. So Brian last week got to talk to you guys a little bit about it's never too late to start, which I think is such an awesome message. I hope that it planted some seeds in your brain last week and you have begun to think about what is it that it's not too late to start. And maybe you've taken a step forward into beginning that journey. So this week, because I'm by myself, Brian's actually in the Poconos trying to finish up some last minute things on our STR up there to get it launched and ready to go and start welcoming some guests. So I thought it was a perfect excuse to unpack and talk a little bit more about Ayurveda. So if you followed along in our journey, you know that I'm a certified yoga teacher. I have a special certificate in trauma-informed yoga. And one of the things that I learned simultaneously with that certification was a lot about Ayurveda, which is the sister science of yoga. And it really is the unpacking of the healing methodology that breath work and routine and practices can do for our bodies. So I don't know about you, but I am loving the sunshine the last few days. It's supposed to be warm again today. And as I'm walking around with our kids and we're in our homeschool group, we're starting to look at signs of spring. So I did one of these Ayurvedic transition conversations back when we were transitioning from fall to fall. And so I thought, what a perfect time to tap into what is traditionally a really difficult transition for many when we go from winter to spring. And there's a reason to that. If you look at what dosha we enter when we're going from winter to spring, we're entering into our kapha dosha. So remember, there's three that we talked about. It's vata, kapha, and pitta. So pitta is our summer, our fire energy. Vata is our fall energy. So that's what we talked about last time. And kapha is our spring. As a default, you might be feeling a little bit sluggish, a little bit heavy. It's almost like you're like a cranky bear coming out of hibernation. And that is strategic because our bodies are trying to regulate and redefine this movement into spring. Spring is awesome, right? Like we know that it's a time of renewal and regeneration. We see things growing and budding and it's beautiful. But sometimes as humans, it's hard for us and our bodies need to acclimate and get a little bit more in rhythm with what the natural world is doing. So as a default, our kapha dosha, it's like your earthy, watery qualities. It's like the things that give lubrication to your joints. It's that mucus that you get that protects our sensitive tissues like our sinuses, our lungs, our stomach. So maybe some of you right now are actually experiencing some cold-like symptoms. This is completely normal. It could be allergies, but it could also be your body's excess production of mucus. And so when kapha is out of balance, you're going to feel sleepy, mentally dull. There could be some depression type symptoms coming up for you. You're going to have that excess phlegm in your lungs, your sinuses. You could be feeling nauseous, just like maybe some unhealthy weight gain, water retention, some inflammation, just heaviness all around. And this is completely normal. So if you're feeling that way, there's hope, right? When it's in balance, kapha's in balance, we actually are able to use some of those things to our benefit. The excess oil and phlegm in our bodies that it's producing is a lubrication for our joints and our muscles to start inviting ourselves to kind of go out and do some exercise or different movements. We're waking up, right? Our body's calling for that agni, which is like your internal fire, your heat to get stoked, right? So I like to almost think about this transition from winter to spring as like shedding your winter coat, right? You're letting go of that heaviness to create space and room for some, to feel lighter, right? So how do we do this? Your prescription, your Ayurvedic prescription is going to be first to develop some type of routine or rhythm that's going to help you gradually lighten up, both physically, mentally, emotionally. So the idea of shedding is a really, really like great visualization to think about. Okay. This could be something as simple as when you wake up in the morning. We've always talked about the power of drinking water in the morning. When you wake up, you've already lost about a gallon of water while you're sleeping. So you're already dehydrated. One little shift that I like to do, something that they recommend in terms of food for kapha, energy is not to eat things that are ice cold or drink things that are ice cold in the morning. So even starting your your day with a glass of warm lemon water, I just throw water in the microwave for about a minute, and then I squeeze lemon in it. That immediately gets your digestive fires firing, and you feel really good. Something else that I want to like kind of put in there as well, before you drink that water, your body has just worked really, really hard to get rid of all these toxins and to shed all these things that we have in our systems. And so something that can be really helpful is to tongue scrape in the morning. This is an Ayurvedic principle, but you can do this with, I actually have a tongue scraper. You can get them on Amazon. You can do this with the back of or with a spoon and just kind of scrape your tongue. So first thing when I wake up, I go to the bathroom, I use my tongue scraper to get all the toxins that are on the top of my tongue off. I brush my teeth, and then I drink my warm lemon water. I do this because if you think about it, if you drink that warm lemon water before you get rid of the toxins in your mouth, you're just redigesting them back into your system. So your body has to work extra hard. So if you have that as part of your practice, it immediately starts your body as that detoxification first thing in the morning, which I think is really important. Drinking that warm glass of water and then doing some type of light movement stretching. Remember, you have extra mucus with that lubricating of your muscles, right? So using stretching as a way to break down and move that lymphatic system around can be really helpful. I love using the Down Dog app. If you are an educator or a student, or you have a student in your household, Down Dog just announced that all their apps are going to be free for educators, students, and the like. So that's a great yoga app. I've mentioned this in other podcasts before, but I love that one because it's totally customizable. So if you haven't checked it out, that's a beautiful way to check out. You need to figure out what works for you, but eating lighter foods, right, throughout the day, you want your heaviest meal to be around lunch, so you give yourself plenty of digestive time. You want about 3 to 4 hours between meals, trying to avoid snacking. If you think about the idea of snacking, you're constantly loading your digestive system up with food, and it never has that true detoxification process of fully breaking it down, absorbing the nutrients, and getting rid of the waste, right? So trying to space out your meals a little bit can be really, really helpful. So 3 to 4 hours between. Think about foods that aren't super oily or fried. You're going to, avoid or eliminate, if you can, some dairy. Dairy is very mucus producing, and for kapha, it takes kapha out of balance. So dairy products might be great, like yogurts and stuff, during the rest of the year, but during this transition, trying to eliminate that so that mucus can break down and you don't have that excess mucus can be really helpful as well. So this whole idea, just think light, right? Lightness. We're getting rid of the heavy. We're waking up from hibernation. And the other piece that's so important with spring transition, and I know daylight savings is not our friend most of the time, but getting out in nature, resetting your biorhythms and your circadian rhythms with the sun. So I know that it's probably dark in the mornings, but then tapping into that later sun in the evening, going for a walk after dinner, trying to go for a walk after lunch if that's possible, even if it's for 10 minutes, just feeling that sunlight on your face, looking at the grass as it's beginning to green, watching for the buds and the signs of spring. You're acclimating your body back to those natural rhythms, which immediately helps us become one with that ability to shed and then regenerate, renew. So I could geek out on this all day long, but it's just, I think, such a great reminder. If you can remember that the seasons give us these natural cues, that if we can align ourselves to them, it'll feel so much better for our body. It'll make us feel like we're flourishing and that we're thriving and we're not so heavy and stuck. So I challenge you this week to look for those signs of springs outwardly, like in the actual natural environment, and then think about how you can internalize that and create some lightness or space to get that kapha dosha in balance. Let it work for you instead of against you. Always, if you have questions, love to hear them, love to unpack this all day long. But I just wanted to drop this little bit of information for you, and hopefully you got something out of it. I look forward to having my partner back with me next week and continuing on this little journey with you. So hope everyone has a great week. Take care.
Hello world, wake me up to another good